Did you know humans were telling stories 30,000 years before we could even write? Stories are how people pass down technology, culture, religion, recipes, knowledge for most of our history. It's why we still teach a 3,000-year-old story to every high schooler, because something about a hero doing whatever is necessary to get to the one they love still resonates with us all these years later. It's why kids cry when they see this.
Dad, we gotta go home.
It's why you cried when you saw this.
I'll never let go. I promise.
I'd like to point out that there was more than enough room on that door for both of them. Stories are why we love Netflix, why we lined up every time a new Harry Potter book was released. It's why we miss our grandfathers. Stories are a part of what it means to be human. As a teacher, shouldn't we take advantage of this incredible tool we have in our arsenal? In my experience growing up, so much of my school experience was devoid of story. I had to sit quiet, absorb information, regurgitate it on a test, and repeat. I mean, not very memorable. And if learning isn't memorable, then what's the point? But then there were some teachers who took that same information and shaped it into stories. Like my 10th grade history teacher, who could take something as boring sounding as the Declaration of Independence and make it come alive in a story about people fighting for freedom. Or this math teacher I had who took all of the equations I was going to learn anyway and put them into stories with problems and conflict, using this power of story to create deeper connections with the content. And I'd be willing to bet that you remember a teacher who could tell a great story. Someone's class who you could sit in and forget that you were in school. Or someone's class you could sit in and be glad that you were in school. When you tell stories in the classroom, you're using an ancient tool to connect with our students. Yeah, it takes some practice to spin a great tale, and there's some ways to get better at it. Shameless plug. But when teachers learn the art of telling stories, they can engage their students in a way that nothing else can. We love Pixar movies, we love Game of Thrones, and students should love what you're teaching. And I think using stories is a great way to do that. Who's a great storyteller you remember from school? Or someone you know now? I bet you already have a name in mind. Because good storytelling is memorable. And who doesn't want school to be memorable? Thanks for what you do and for the stories you're a part of in the lives of kids.